For he knew the cold truth. The only thing that could tear down the house of the dragon was itself.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're heading back to Westeros as we recount every episode of the first season of House of the Dragon. Be prepared for practically all the spoilers.
Know that you will die screaming.
The Heirs of the Dragon. Right off the bat, we're told that this prequel takes place well over a century before the likes of Daenerys Targaryen and her quest for the Iron Throne. It's here we're introduced to the Targaryen dynasty at the height of its power. But as per usual, fractures have already started to form due to a lack of a clear successor. So sure of his unborn child being a boy, King Viserys organizes a tournament in King's Landing to celebrate.
Before the games are over, my son will be born, and the whole realm will celebrate.
It's here we meet the main players that will occupy this tale of war and strife, including the likes of Princess Rhaenyra, a free-spirited dragon rider, her longtime friend Alicent Hightower, as well as her father Otto Hightower, the Hand of the King. Things really get shaken up with the return of Viserys' younger brother, Prince Daemon, a ruthless warrior unafraid to antagonize and brutalize any who cross him.
My brother's city has fallen into squalor. Crime of every breed has been allowed to thrive. No longer. Beginning tonight, King's Landing will learn to fear the color gold.
Amidst the jubilation, Viserys suffers a terrible loss as his wife and queen dies from blood loss due to complications with the birth, promoting the most gruesome of C-sections.
They're going to bring the babe out now.
Only for his newborn son to die swiftly afterwards. A few choice words about the so-called heir for a day see Daemon banished, while Viserys chooses Rhaenyra as his heir, while also confiding in her about the prophecy of King Aegon and the coming of the White Walkers.
And if the world of men is to survive, a Targaryen must be seated on the Iron Throne. A king or queen, strong enough to unite the realm against the cold and the dark.
The Rogue Prince. Despite being named heir, Rhaenyra's words are not heeded by the higher-ups, though she does find herself given the choice to select a new Kingsguard, ultimately selecting Criston Cole, the winner of the tournament. Violence has broken out between Westeros' forces and the Essos Triarchy, who in turn have appointed a fearsome warrior known as the Crab Feeder to help them take an archipelago known as the Stepstones. Alliances are both broken and formed following the demand for Viserys to take a new wife.
Join our families. Wed our daughter Laena. Unite the two great surviving Valyrian houses. With the Targaryen dragons and the Velaryon fleet bound in blood, you can show the realm that the crown's strongest days are ahead, not behind.
All the while, Daemon causes further trouble by taking a dragon egg and making a home for himself on Dragonstone. To avert bloodshed and flex her own influence, Rhaenyra arrives on Dragonback and convinces Daemon to return the egg.
I'm right here, Uncle. The object of your ire. The reason that you were disinherited. If you wish to be restored as heir, you'll need to kill me. So do it. And be done with all this bother.
Whatever high she might have been on comes crashing down with the announcement that Viserys will take Alicent as his new wife, shattering the trust of his daughter, as well as the allegiance of the Velaryons.
I intend to marry the Lady Alicent Hightower before Spring's End.
Second of his name. After choosing to ally themselves with Daemon, both he and House Velaryon find themselves locked in a stalemate against the Crab Feeder's forces.
Where are you? I'm gonna feed you to your own crabs!
Back in Westeros, tensions and animosity have continued to mount between Rhaenyra, her father, and his new queen Alicent, who is already pregnant with another child. In celebration, a great hunt is arranged, along with potential partners for Rhaenyra to wed.
Why would you need a dragon pit?
To house dragons, of course. I'd do anything for my queen. Or lady wife.
Outraged, she ventures out into the wilds followed by Sir Criston, where the two not only grow closer, but they discover the mythical White Hart, a deer closely associated with royal splendor. Meanwhile, Daemon, in a bid to show his worth before his brother's reinforcements arrive, enacts a daring plan, using himself as bait before taking the Crab Feeder's head in a bloody act of victory. King of the Narrow Sea. Returning triumphant from his battle in the Stepstones, Daemon seemingly mends the rift with Viserys. Just when things are seemingly looking up for the Targaryen household, a night of scandal follows, as Daemon and Rhaenyra indulge in a raunchy outing throughout King's Landing, coming dangerously close to keeping the bloodline pure, as it were, only for Daemon to back out before fully committing. Spurned by this, Rhaenyra seduces Sir Criston into her bed. This eventually comes back to bite everyone, as after one of Otto's spies relays the information, Viserys puts everyone on blast.
The princess was spied last evening, beyond the walls of the keep, in a pleasure house.
What of it?
She was carrying on with her uncle. They were engaged in behaviors unbecoming of a maiden.
Daemon is once again exiled, Rhaenyra is forced into marriage arrangements with a member of House Velaryon, while Otto is removed from his position after being outed for his manipulation of the king's grief.
You were a faithful servant, Otto. The crown and the realm. Both owe you a debt, can never be repaid. But I can no longer trust your judgment.
We light the way. It doesn't take long for Daemon to start causing trouble, starting with the murder of his wife from the Vale. While both reluctant to fully give themselves to their arranged marriage, Rhaenyra and her consort-to-be Sir Laenor Velaryon agree that both should be free to pursue their own passions on the side, given Rhaenyra's attraction to Criston and Laenor's current liaison with his lover Joffrey.
And what do you propose?
That we perform our duty to our fathers and to the realm. And when it's done, each of us dines as we see fit.
This, in turn, sows the seeds of a disaster, what with Criston being less than thrilled at the prospect of just being a side piece for the princess.
I want us to continue as we began with you as my small protector, my white knight.
I took an oath. As a knight of your king's guard. An oath of chastity. I've broken it. I've soiled my white cloak.
He's so distraught by this that he inadvertently reveals the truth to Alicent, and in doing so, exposes Rhaenyra's lies. The celebration for the wedding ends up taking one nasty turn after another. Daemon returns. Alicent shows her growing malice by wearing green.
The beacon on the high tower. Do you know what color it glows when Old Town calls its banners to war?
Green.
And in a fit of insanity, Criston beats Joffrey to death. Oh, and Viserys is succumbing to disease. Just another day in King's Landing. The Princess and the Queen. Cue one hell of a time jump, as 10 years have now passed since the Green Wedding, and things are not well in the kingdom. Rhaenyra and Laenor have continued their agreement, with Rhaenyra now a mother of 3, along with her not-so-secret affair with Sir Harwin Strong.
Sleep in front of the commander of the city watch. Terrible lack of respect.
Rhaenyra's relationship with Alicent is at an all-time low, with the latter constantly pushing to have the illegitimacy of Rhaenyra's sons exposed, all in an effort to safeguard her own children and their claim to the throne.
You are the challenge! You are the challenge, Aegon! Simply by living and breathing!
Things take a turn for the worst when Larys Strong fills out Alicent's request to have her father return to power in a rather roundabout way, via the assassination of Harwin and his own father.
The Queen makes a wish. What servant of the realm would not strive to fulfill it? I assume you will write to your father now?
Larys, I did not wish for this.
I feel certain you will reward me.
The scandal and slaughter prompts Rhaenyra and her family to take up residence in Dragonstone. As for Daemon, things aren't easy for him either. Despite getting wed to Laena Velaryon, having 2 children, and enjoying a life of luxury in Pentos, a last-second complication with the birth of their 3rd child leads Laena to end things the Targaryen way, with dragonfire. Driftmark. Needless to say, having all the powerful houses in one place makes for an awkward funeral, especially when the bad blood becomes impossible to ignore. Rhaenyra's sons Jacaerys and Lucerys are still reeling from the loss of Harwin Strong and the duties expected of them. Otto is back in power as Hand of the King, Laenor is overcome by grief, and Daemon is being Daemon. A beachside stroll leads to Daemon and Rhaenyra picking things up from where they left off 10 years ago by consummating their passions. All the while, Alicent's youngest son Aemond finds a way to claim Laena's dragon for himself. This leads to Laena's daughters lashing out, with Jace and Luke coming to their aid.
Vhagar has a new rider now.
She was mine to claim.
Then you should have claimed her. Maybe your cousins can find you a pig to ride. It would suit you.
The ensuing scuffle turns bloody when Luke takes out Aemond's eye. The aftermath divides all factions in two, with Alicent and Rhaenyra coming to blows.
Exhausting, wasn't it? Hiding beneath the cloak of your own righteousness. But now they see you as you are.
Knowing conflict is imminent, Rhaenyra and Daemon wed, all the while giving Laenor and his lover a chance at freedom to live their own lives. All it takes is a boat, a haircut, and an arranged murder. Lord of the Tides. Another 6 years on, and once again the legitimacy concerning Rhaenyra's children comes into question. With Lord Corlys Velaryon wounded, his conniving brother Vaemond uses his allegiance with Alicent and the Hightowers as a way to petition his right to rule over Driftmark, putting him in direct competition with Rhaenyra's son Lucerys for the title of Lord of the Tides.
He means to call into question Luke's legitimacy. And by extension, Jace, and by extension, my own claim to the throne.
Things have also taken a terrible turn for Viserys, whose body and mind are falling apart due to his affliction. Not that it stops him showing an absolutely stunning show of strength during the meeting. Despite Vaemond's arrogant yet technically correct claims of legitimacy, his and the Hightowers' plans go up in flames when Viserys arrives to oversee matters personally. Luke's legitimacy to Driftmark is restored due to the endorsement of Princess Rhaenys, along with a marriage announcement between her granddaughters and Rhaenyra's sons.
As a matter of fact, the Princess Rhaenyra has just informed me of her desire to marry her sons Jace and Luke to Lord Corlys's granddaughters, Baela and Rhaena. A proposal to which I heartily agree.
Vaemond does not take it well, warranting instant retribution by Daemon and his sword.
He can keep his tongue.
A feast between family members prompts the ailing king to beg for peace, reminding them of the love they once shared. And it surprisingly works, at least until Aemond decides to let his bitterness show.
Come. Let us drain our cups to these 3 strong boys.
I dare you to say that again.
Why? It was only a compliment. Do you not think yourself strong?
Whatever bridges Viserys was trying to build are well and truly broken when his dying words are misinterpreted by Alicent, confusing the dream of King Aegon the Conqueror with their less than mentally sound son. The Green Council. Now, believing the deceased king's final wish was to put her son Aegon upon the throne, Alicent decides to push to revoke Rhaenyra's claim, only to be shocked that her father and other members of the small council have already been making plans in secret to ensure the Hightower bloodline takes control.
Then we may proceed now with the full assurance of his blessing on our long-laid plans.
Yes, there is much to be done, as we've previously discussed.
Though this plan of action isn't without its dissenters, Alicent is horrified at Otto's willingness to have Rhaenyra and her family assassinated, while Sir Criston reveals his true psychotic colors when he brutally murders an elderly council member for disagreeing.
I will not suffer insults to Her Grace the Queen.
From there, the Hightowers start to take over, imprisoning or killing those who don't swear fealty to Aegon, leading to Princess Rhaenys being restrained in her room.
It's in the name of peace that you've imprisoned me. And what of my dragon?
If we are overmatched, Rhaenyra will be tempted to strike us and war will ensue.
Larys also goes out of his way to inform Alicent of the spies located through the keep, which he is willing to remove, so long as she is willing to show a little ankle. After a lot of convincing, the wayward Aegon accepts his new role as ruler of the Seven Kingdoms, though his coronation is somewhat ruined via a dragon bursting through the floor. Having been freed by a sympathetic Kingsguard, Rhaenys reclaims her dragons, drops it like a boss, and while she's given ample opportunity to burn the Hightowers to ash, instead chooses to make her escape. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. the Black Queen. It doesn't take long for news of the insurrection to reach Dragonstone.
Viserys is dead. I grieve this loss with you, Rhaenyra. My cousin, your father, possessed a kind heart. There is more.
Rhaenys's regaling of Aegon's ascension, as well as the death of Viserys, turns out to be too much for Rhaenyra to handle, leading to her losing her unborn child. In the wake of her grief, the arrival of Ser Erryk, the Kingsguard who freed Rhaenys, brings a glimmer of hope as he swears loyalty to her, along with Viserys' crown. Reinvigorated, Rhaenyra gathers her armies and prepares a counterattack.
Princess Rhaenyra.
I'm Queen Rhaenyra now. And you all are traitors to the realm.
Which is substantially bolstered by the return of Corlys Velaryon. The only thing left to do is to remind the lords of the land of the oaths they once swore, a task Rhaenyra entrusts to her 2 sons. What could go wrong? As it happens, Lucerys isn't the only one trying to curry favor. Encountering Aemond at Storm's End, things quickly turn sour as Aemond demands penance for the eye that was taken from him.
No. I want you to put out your eye. It's payment for mine. One will serve.
While bloodshed is forbidden inside the castle walls, outside among the thunderous skies, it's a different story. Hunted by Aemond and his colossal dragon, Lucerys seemingly manages to make a getaway. That is, until their dragons start to rebel. Tragically, this spells Luke's doom, as a now uncontrollable Vhagar devours him and sends his remains falling from the sky. Eventually, word of her son's death reaches Rhaenyra, and while nothing is said, the look she gives says it all. Peace is off the table, and the dance of the dragons is about to begin. Are you Team Black or Team Green? Let us know in the comments. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.